Okay, we are recording, I do believe. Yep, the little record button's there. Perfect. So, getting started, we're going to go over WordPress, where to get your hosting, how to use your hosting service, the cPanel, how to install WordPress inside of your hosting, how to log into your new WordPress installation versus logging into your hosting. They're two different things. You install your website inside of your hosting, and it has its own separate login. Then we're going to go over how to use WordPress as is straight out of the box. So we're going to go over the admin menu. We're going to go over the dashboard. So when you first log into WordPress, you see your admin menu and the dashboard. Then we're going to go into configure your site settings. I'm going to show you where to find your extra tools and the types of tools that go in there and how to add them. How to manage users inside of your website, how to add plugins so you can expand on your features available in your website, where to modify your site's appearance, where to add media files like your pictures, your PDFs, your videos, your audios, how to add pages, how to add blog posts, where to monitor comments, and how to do your website updates. So that in a nutshell is everything to manage using your website. Then we're going to go into getting started with what plugins you should be installing. I'm going to give you a list of all the ones that we start off with. That will be a basic set to get started with a basic website. There's numerous plugins and features that you can add, but we're just sticking to the basics. How to configure your plugins. And then we're going to be working with the Divi theme by Elegant Themes. That's a really robust, popular theme that is being used right now by businesses. It's super popular, I think, because it's lightweight. It's not very bloated like a lot of the themes out there. It doesn't bog your site down too badly. And it's easy to optimize if it does start getting heavy. I'll go into that later, but it's a good flexible theme to start with. And then we're going to talk about how to configure the theme, so the theme settings. Then we're going to get into the design aspect of creating the visuals on your site. So we're going to go into planning a brand board. So picking your fonts, where to find free ones, or if you want to purchase a font, where you can get those. Your colors, so your color palette, and any patterns you might want to use in your site. And then we're going to plan the page layouts with Divi. I have some pre-created and I make them all the time. And I post them inside of my membership area for my members to download. And I also do workshops like this every Wednesday. So some of those might be consisting of creating an about page or creating a new homepage layout and stuff like that. So that's something I support ongoing. I'm going to show you how to create your own layout images, how to set up your page inside WordPress and create those layouts that I make. And then I'm going to show you how to set up your pages in there. How to create your homepage. So we'll create a layout together on the homepage. We'll create a basic about page, a simplified services page, and then just a contact page where someone can type in and hit submit to send you an email, and maybe a couple extra form fields so that you can get to know who's asking you questions and what kind of services they're asking about. And then we'll set up your blog feed. And after we have all of those pages planned, set up, and created, we're going to set up your the menus on your website. And then we're going to set up blog categories. And then we're going to go back and look at search engine optimization. And I'll show you how to set that up on each of the pages and blog posts. And then I'm going to show you how to social optimize each of those pages and posts so that when you share it to Facebook, it has the correct image size. It looks properly done, like you don't have a heading clipped off or anything like that, or a head chopped in half when you post it. Wonky things happen if you don't optimize your images for social sharing. And then the last thing we go over is how to do your automatic backups. This way, if something happens to your server, you have a copy of your website in an alternate location and you can upload it to a new server or a new hosting company. Or whatever weird things happen to websites, you always want to have a backup. So we'll go over how to do that. So if you follow along through the whole workshop, you'll be able to create a website in a day. None of this procrastinating here. We're just going to get it done. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So let's look first at, I use a company called Host Me Dear. It's a very small company right now. They're in their first year or two of business, and they've been really good to me. I really like them. I chose them because they're not one of those host giants that treat you like a number. If you have a support ticket that goes in, I know who's helping me. I know all of the support staff. I know the owner of the company personally now. We're Facebook friends. He follows my group. He actively helps people in my community when they have questions. So it's pretty awesome. We have a pretty good connection there. And the prices are amazing. Let me go over to the homepage for you. We'll start there with a hosting company to look at. And if you want to, I'll also cover one of the bigger companies that I also work with, SiteGround. They're a lot like GoDaddy, but they specialize in WordPress, and they have since the beginning of WordPress, so they know it inside and out. And again, I know most of their support staff because I've been using them for so long, and they treat me like a person, not a number. So that's what I look for when I'm looking for a hosting company. I don't just look at the price. I look at the quality of service and the quality of the product. There are some really terrible hosts out there. I avoid any hosts that are owned by Endurance International Group because typically they don't care about the service they're providing. They just want to take money and say, hey, you have a service. We don't care if it works. I'm not cool with that. Their stuff is too broken. So Host Me Dear has an awesome start for $15, and then every month it's $6, $7 for just a basic website setup. And they give you the SSL certificate, which I'm going to say that's important to have right now, especially if you're using Stripe as your payment gateway. Because WordPress now requires you to have a secure site to take payments. And that's what SSL is. It secures your website. So right here, Host Me Dear. I will put the link in the email going out after we finish this, to all of these to sign up for them if you pick one of them. The other one that I was going to talk about is SiteGround. I'm an affiliate for both of these companies, by the way, so my links will buy me coffee. SiteGround is the big giant host. Come on, load. There we go. And they do services for a bunch of different stuff. So when you do services for WordPress, you want to click WordPress hosting. Get it to load. They have hosting starting at $5 a month. Now, their hosting is a little different than Host Me Dear because if you want that SSL certificate, you have to purchase it separately. And I believe they charge $60 a year for their SSL certificate, whereas Host Me Dear, you pay that $15 startup fee and you have your SSL certificate in your hosting already. So startup is great for someone, if you're on this, I assume you're just starting your website for the first time and you're only doing one of them, this is fine. It's going to give you space for one website. 10 gigabytes is a ton of space for a website. And 10,000 monthly visits. If you don't have a huge following, that's perfect. You don't need anything. You don't need to upgrade for a while. Then once you get going and you have multiple sites, or you need more than 10 gigabytes because maybe you're uploading audio files or video files, larger items, or a high quality images for print for clients to download. A lot of my photographers and videographers run out of space fast, so they have to upgrade to one of these. Again, not bad prices. $5, $8, $15 a month for the first year. Not a bad deal. And then it's just double the price, 50% more when you renew. I do have an account with them still for a couple of my clients and one of my websites, but primarily I use HostMeDear because I just really like the owner there and the support team. So let's go ahead and look at what cPanel looks like. I'm going to use HostMeDear for this part of the tutorial here. And this is what it looks like when I log into my account. We have a dashboard here for the hosting, and it shows me what products I have. I have my SSL certificate, and then my shared hosting is where I put all of my websites and any clients that are on contract go in here. So if I click this, it takes me to the cPanel, or the option to go to the cPanel. There's a couple clicks involved. So this gives me basic information about my services. I can quick set up email accounts and forwarders, autoresponders. I can add on domains. It's just a couple shortcuts here. And then I can quick create accounts. Not too bad. And then to go to my actual hosting panel, over here I have actions. And by the way, this is pretty generic setup for most hosting companies. SiteGround is a little different, and so is GoDaddy. But for the most part, it's very similar. So the actions here, cPanel is where your hosting services are for your website. Webmail is where you access your email addresses that we set up after we do this stuff in cPanel. So let's start in cPanel. And I'm just going to give a basic overview of stuff. You won't need most of this. Typically, it's a developer or a web designer that you hire to do work for you will handle most of the stuff. It's more advanced. And there's even a lot of times you can just click the video tutorials to really learn in depth about these different things in here. But we have a backup section for backing up all of the websites inside of your hosting account. So you don't need to add a plugin to WordPress if it's included in your hosting. You can just grab your snapshots from here. This is not available in all hosting accounts. Like, the reason I don't like the Endurance International group, this is one of them. They don't include backups as part of your plan. They nickel and dime you, and you have to add everything on. You have to know to add these things on, and a lot of people don't know they need it. It should just be included. So make sure you have some form of backups. I'm stressing backups because it's super important. Preferences. You won't use anything here really. You got your password, contact information. Again, those video tutorials. Mail, this is where you will set up your email accounts. So you want to go to email accounts, and you can set up something like hello@cynthiascomp.com. Let's do hello@webpresenceboss.com. Let's type a password in here. And you'll see the password strength. You want this to go to very strong. You want it to be green. So you'll need to use capital letters, numbers, and symbols. And then mailbox quota, this is how much data, how much space are you allowing that email box to use. So my account is unlimited, so I can just do everything unlimited. It doesn't matter. I just clean it out later. But if you have, like on SiteGround, a limitation of 10 gigabytes, then you might want to keep this low, like 250 megabytes. That shouldn't fill up too fast. So your data usage for your email box applies to your allotted amount of data in your hosting account. And then you just hit create account and it pops up the information here. So I have a bunch of different ones in here. This is where you change the password for the account if someone forgets their password, like I have Brittany at Scomp Technologies. She's a web designer that worked for us. And I can delete her account here. I can change the password. And in some cases, you can access the webmail from here. You can configure an email client like Microsoft Outlook or your mail client if you're on a MacBook, Apple products. And you can set it up to work with your cell phone's email client as well this way. So if you click configure email client, the settings pop up to input in the system. Here's the manual settings. So that's a different tutorial for another day, but that's where you would find that information. So I'm going to go back to home. So it takes me back to the cPanel home. That's this button here. And now if we click webmail, this is the webmail for your website to log in. Just click this. Okay, so it gives this particular host gives me 3 different options for email boxes to use: Squirrel Mail, Roundcube, and Horde. This is going to be personal preference. Which one do you like the most? I prefer to use Horde because I just like the setup of how it works. It's easier for me to navigate around it. Squirrel Mail looks like 1990s style. So test them out, see which one you like. So to go back to our cPanel, I'm just going to click that home button again. Or we can just go back to the tab. Okay, so that's pretty much all you need for mail. Unless you want to get into forwarding your mail to your Gmail account or setting up autoresponders like out of office, say you go on vacation. Or if you are using a service like Google for Work, you can set up MX entries to forward your domain email address to Google for Work to use their setup instead of using one of the built-in webmail options. Okay, I don't use any of the SEO and marketing tools. My SEO team has their own tools that they use. Files is where your website's files live. This is their home. This is where all of the data that you upload into your WordPress website falls into. It's where all the WordPress files are. You might need to use this when troubleshooting your website at times, but that's another tutorial another day. And then we have logs. Sometimes support will ask for log information. You just go over to the error log and find what they are asking for. Okay, and then Cloudflare, you probably won't play with that too much. That's a more advanced tutorial. And then security, that's also a more advanced tutorial. That's more of a techie person type deal. And then domains, you'll use this. So subdomains are built off of your primary domain. So say you purchase webpresenceboss.com and you want to make a members area, but you don't want it to be included inside of your main website. So you want to set up something like members.webpresenceboss.com. That would be called a subdomain, and you reinstall WordPress and build a whole new website inside of that. Add-on domains, that's where you add on new domains that you've purchased. So say you purchased Web Presence Boss Academy, and instead of using a subdomain, you can install WordPress on that this way by going to add-on domains, add it in there after you purchased it, and then install WordPress after that. You probably won't play too much with parked domains, redirects, or anything like that until you get into more advanced things like setting up landing pages and sales pages on their own primary domains. Then you might play with that a little more. Okay, databases. You probably won't touch that too often. This is more advanced. WordPress does use databases, but it automatically builds it for you when you hit the install button. So if you manually install WordPress, then you would have to use this. That's a different tutorial. Software and services. Not going to touch this, but this is where WordPress installer is the soft Aculeus. I can't pronounce that word. This thing. It says soft. But we have it down here in apps. Advanced, you're not going to touch. So here's the apps installer for the soft thing. We just click WordPress. And this is the quick install for it, so you don't have to manually do it. Now I click Install Now to create a new one, or if we already have one installed on a website, we can go to My Apps, and it gives us the option to delete instances, see what's installed, upgrade them, all one-click stuff. So for now, we're just going to go to Install Now. So when you do the setup for this portion, we choose the protocol. If you have an SSL certificate, you're going to choose the S so that you have secure. If it's a regular website, you just do the HTTP. Mine are all set up like this right now. And then we can choose our domain or the subdomain right here in the drop-down. So where is, I've already installed, I think I already installed it on this, but that's okay. So we'll choose the subdomain. I have an empty one. I think that one's empty. And then in directory, you want to leave this empty, nothing in that box. Because if you leave WP in there, you're going to have to go to test.webpresenceboss.com/WP to get to your website. We don't want to put that /WP. We want it on the primary portion of the domain. The reason you would do it in a subdomain would be if you have a splash page in your website that leads into your WordPress install, which we don't do that. That's not common practice to do that. I don't think it's very good for search engine optimization either. Splash pages are bad news. Site name and site description. You can put in, we'll just call it Web Presence Boss. And then demos and tutorials, something like that. Whatever your business name is, and if you have a tagline, essentially. Now, this enable multi-site, for the purposes of this tutorial, we are not touching anything multi-site. That's a whole different ballpark. That's for building blog systems, like if you wanted to set up your own version of Blogger or your own version of Tumblr where people come in and create their own blogs on your network. So we're not playing with that. Usernames and passwords. Never, ever, ever use the username admin, administrator, webmaster. Those are the #1 hacked usernames and passwords. Hackers target everyone in every place. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. They are going to try to break your website just because it's fun for them to do. So pick a username. I try to go with either using my full name, including my middle name, or I'll put in my business name with some numbers after it. I make it kind of not something common that some stranger would figure out. And then password, again, it has this little gauge telling you whether that's a good password or not. So type in something like like that. Capital letters, symbols, and numbers. You want at least 2 capital letters, 2 symbols, and 2 numbers, and you'll get a strong password. And then your email address goes in here. This is the administrator email, so anytime the website needs to send an alert, it's going to send it to this email address. For my clients, I use Site Monitoring at Scomp Technologies because that is where all of my backup alerts and everything go to for everyone. Limit login attempts is a security measure. I recommend checking that. It will limit the amount of tries before it locks someone out for X amount of minutes. So you can try 5 times and then you'll be locked out for 20 minutes. That prevents brute force break-ins. Definitely checkbox that. Now there's some advanced options. You don't have to worry about these too much in this case. So database name. I don't like putting WP because if a hacker is going to come after my database and they know it's a WordPress site, they can figure out how to break into it by using WP. So I use something like my initials or my business's initials, something that's not WP. It's just 2 or 3 letters with some numbers. And then the table prefix, in this case, it's fine. If you stick with the generic WP that some systems automatically set up, that's a problem because, again, the brute force attacks on the database, they know WordPress generically uses WP underscore. So when I'm working with clients, I'll use something like that for Web Presence Boss so that I know who it is when I'm looking at my databases. But if you only have one website, not a big deal. Just don't use WP. And then auto upgrade plugins, and auto upgrade themes. This is okay for small scale websites that do not have a lot of different plugins and themes, and there's not going to be conflicts if something updates and it's not ready to yet. So I use a lot of plugins from third-party developers. 98% of the time, they have the upgrade ready for the website before WordPress upgrades their core. So it's fine. There's no conflicts. They've already solved them. In some cases on free plugins, I notice mostly that they might not get that update for the new WordPress update until a little while after WordPress already updated the website. They're not as on top of it. So I don't do auto updates, but if you're only using a couple plugins, it should be fine. So in the case of if you're sticking to just what we do here, go ahead and do the auto updates. If you're doing something more complex, like later on adding on a membership site, a ton of e-commerce features, a network you're building where people can join and communicate with each other like a social network, I wouldn't do auto upgrades. And then this particular installer allows me to pick a theme, but we are going to be using one that we upload on our own. So it doesn't matter if you pick one here, we're going to be changing it. So I just don't click anything. I just go for the install. So while that's installing, if anyone has questions, you can pop them in the chat box. Looks like there's a couple things in here. So Cynthia Merriment says, I have about 45 domains on Bluehost. Do you suggest I switch? If you're already there and you're noticing that it's working perfectly fine for you, stay there. 45 domains is a lot to move. Bluehost does allow you to do the upgrades for your services. Like you can add on all those extras that I'm showing you that I have that came already with my package. But it should be fine to stay where you're at and just add on the extra things as you need them. I wouldn't move unless you're having problems with support or the service is down often or they break things and you can't log in for a long time. typically, if you've been there a while, you're on a server that's well supported already, and they've worked out all the kinks. When they take on new servers, I've noticed that that's when all the problems happen. They're opening up new services, the server's not configured properly, and they're having a lot of problems. And Dave says, just noticed this question. Her host actually seems pretty good in my opinion. I had my own dedicated hosting for the longest time, but I dropped it for a little cheap GoDaddy package. I only have 2 domains left now, though. Yeah, Dave is a big time techie guy. He does website hosting. For a while, he was running a company dedicated to website hosting. That's how I met Dave. He was partnered up with someone running a hosting company, and I was using their service like back in 2002, 2004, or something like that. So he knows his hosting stuff, and he's the one I learned it all from. Tracy K says, so what should I name the database name, prefix name? I'm only going to have the one site at this time. Do I need to edit those? If it's already set up, leave it alone. When I go over the security stuff in another workshop, I'll show you how to modify those without breaking your site. So Dave says, I helped you after your ex formatted your website space. That's how we met. Yes, that was obnoxious. I had a website for my web design business, and I was dating this guy when I was like 20, 19. It was just after high school. And he hacked my website. Like, he downloaded these hacker tools and learned how to hack websites just to mess with me. Like, he didn't know how to do anything. He purposely learned this just to mess with me, and Dave fixed it all for me. Ugh, children. We got his ISP to can his service. He was banned for 2 years. Yeah, his hosting company notified the service provider of what they did and banned him from internet services for 2 years. That's pretty funny. That's sad for the rest of his household because I liked his sister and his mom, but whatever. Okay, so moving on. Once it's done installing, congratulations, the software was installed successfully. And this is your domain to go see the website, which it's not going to work because my SSL blocks me from setting these up. And then your link to log in, WP admin. So we're going to go over to right here. This is my demo that I installed last night. So if you click that first link, it would bring you to this. This is the new 2017 theme for WordPress. It comes pre-installed on every installation. So you can work with this theme if you're looking for super basic, just a nice cover image, your name and your site title and description, and then your blog posts will display, and you have a little sidebar that you can configure. So this is what it looks like out of the box. Now, if we log in, we go to /WP admin. We have the dashboard. So this is your admin menu, the top bar here on the top of the page with a little WordPress icon. So if you look at this, it'll tell you about WordPress. It'll take you to wordpress.org, which is where you can check out the repository, basically an index of a bunch of plugins provided by the community. Most are free. Everything in there is free, but some of them require subscription upgrades to unlock extra features. But there are tons of free stuff out in there, tons of free stuff in there that you can use. Documentation, this is where developers go asking questions, reading about how to do certain things. Dave, this is where you'll end up a lot of the time now that you're learning WordPress. This, as a theme developer or a plugin developer, you can go there and find out okay, this hooks into here for coding purposes. Support forms. So if you have questions about WordPress, you can go into the support forms, use the search, type your problem in that you're having, and see if someone has a solution for that. Because 9 times out of 10, if it's occurring to you, it's happened to someone else, and you can find the answer in there. If it gets too techy and you just want to have someone else go in there and fix it, you can just call me. And then feedback, just tell WordPress how they're doing. And then the next tab over, we have my blog. This will change if you change the title of your blog. So if I called it Web Presence Boss, it'll have Web Presence Boss there. And then when you hover down, you visit site, it takes you to the home page. Okay, and then you have this little chat blurb with a 0 next to it. That is your comments on your pages and posts. So right now we have none since the fresh install. And then if you hover over new, you can make a blog post, upload media, add a page to your site, or add a user to your site. So as we install plugins, you might have more features in here. So I have something when I go to new, I have a plugin for duplicating content. It'll give me the option to duplicate page right on the black menu bar here, the admin bar. And also when we install Divi, it gives us a page builder. So if we're looking at a website, it'll give us the option to edit the page up here. And we'll also have a button to visual edit the page using the Divi builder. You'll see that once we get it all installed. So things do get added onto this menu bar as you add features to the website. So let's go ahead and head over to the side admin bar here. We have, I'll just run down through quick, dashboard, and then your sub items are home and updates. If you have updates, it'll show a number next to that. And since it's a fresh install, we have the newest version already. You'll also see updates on the top menu bar. It looks like a little recycle icon with a number next to it. That's only visible when there's actual updates to do. The next item is posts. So we have the options of viewing all of the posts that are in the website already, adding a new post, defining categories for post types. So say you're a food blogger, you might choose to do a category called breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and dessert. So those different categories would be there. And then you have the option of creating tags. So as a food blogger, you might tag bananas, oatmeal, strawberries, chicken, Indian, different types of cuisines, different ethnic types of foods. And this helps users of the website sort the content a little bit quicker. So let's say on your homepage you have a recipe and they click on it and they see a tag for Italian food and they're like, oh, I love making Italian food. They can just click Italian and it'll show all of your posts that are tagged Italian. Okay, and the next one down is media. We have the media library, so you can view everything that you've uploaded into your media area or add new. So things that go in media area would be pictures, audio files, video files, PDFs. That's the 4 main things I add in mine. Pages, these are static pages. They don't have categories and they don't get tags. So we have all pages to view all the pages on the website. Add a new page. Then we have comments. So if you write a blog post and you pin it on Pinterest, maybe someone will stop and leave a comment asking a question. All kinds of reasons people leave comments. Comments, you will get spam comments. I'll show you a trick for ensuring that you block as many of those as you can. Appearance, this is where we define the theme and apply your brand colors, your fonts, customize settings there for visual appearance. So themes is where you select the theme or upload your themes. Customize is where you go into the customizer and it allows you to define presets like your font colors, your heading colors, what fonts you're going to use for headings, what fonts you're going to use for the body. We'll get into the depth. We'll go in depth with that a little later. Then we have widgets. Widgets are typically seen in the sidebar or the footer of a website. And they could be a custom menu. It could be a little Facebook like my page box. It could be your Instagram feed. There's tons of widgets you can put in. We'll go over those a little later. Menus, this is where you create your menus for your website. So if you have a top menu bar, a side menu bar, a footer menu, this is where you create those. And then you have header. Likely you will not touch this. And then editor, that's where you edit your theme files, so your CSS files and all that. Most of the time you're not going to touch that unless you're learning to code. Okay, then we have the tab for plugins. So installed plugins, that's all of the extras, all the features we've added to the site in addition to what they already gave us. Add new is where you upload your new features, your new plugins, and you're always going to upload a .zip file. And a common theme I see with people with MacBooks, and I have a MacBook I'm working on now, as you can see. It automatically unzips your files when you download them, so you have to tell it to compress the file. I'll show you how to do that a little later. And then editor. You're probably not going to touch editor unless you're playing with code. Okay, users. This is where you can see all the users on your website that have registered. You will see spam subscribers. That's just part of owning a website. There's always going to be robots signing up for websites. People subscribe to WordPress sites to get a feed of your blog from WordPress.com if they're a WordPress.com user. You can add new, so if you're adding someone to be a content contributor or adding a new administrator, you just go to add new and plug their information in. I'll show you how to do that. And then your profile, this is where you upload your little bio, your links, everything about you. So if someone clicks on your name on a post, it'll pop open a little bio about you. Tools. So this is where you can import. So available tools, this is, I'll go into that a little later. Import is where, say you have content on Blogger and you're moving to WordPress, you can download what's called an XML file from Blogger and import it to WordPress, so you don't have to copy paste. It'll just plop it all on the site for you, and you can format it and apply its tags and its categories on your own. And it'll also import your pages. But we will not be doing that because we're working with Divi, and that has its own custom builder, so we're starting from scratch. But if you need to, you could import your content and then format it into Divi afterwards. And then export, I use this feature a lot. It allows me to create a whole website as a template. I hit export and I now have demo content for when I build my next site. So I use import and export a lot as a designer. And then settings, this is where we're going to start when we dive in and start building. General settings, this is your blog name, the site title, what time zone you're in, all that stuff. Writing style, reading, discussion, media, and permalinks. So when we start with the blog, we're going to do each of these tabs. So I'm going to jump in right now since we're ready to go. Let's check and see if there's questions first. There's the chat box. Okay, don't read this out loud, Dave. Too late. All right, so settings, let's go to general. Chime in with questions. It'll pop the thing orange for me. I'll know you left a question. Site title, we're going to call this Web Presence Boss Workshop for new builds. Then do not ever change the URL or the site address. This will break your website. This is for when you migrate your website to a new domain name and you have to change all your database stuff. Okay, email address. I'm going to put in my site monitoring so that all my alerts go there. Now, membership, if you checkbox anyone can register, that opens up your registration. We're going to leave it off for now because I don't want spam signups. We haven't put in place any security, anti-spam stuff. So for now, I'm leaving it off, but this is where we can tick it on when we're ready to allow people to subscribe to our blog. Okay, so the new user default role, I always leave that as a subscriber. This way they have no permissions for doing anything on the site other than leaving comments and reading posts. If you make them a contributor, they can start submitting content to your site. It will not be live, it will only be a draft. If you set them as an author, it will publish. And if you set them as an editor, they can go in and edit pages and posts. And if you set as an administrator, they can control the appearance of the website, the functions in the website, the code, the tools, everything. So you want to leave it as default role subscriber so they have 0 rights to the site. And if you're thinking membership site stuff, that's going to be an add-on under plugins. Still leave this as subscriber. Okay, so time zone, you can go with the UTC time zones, or you can find your town, your city. So I am on the East Coast right now, so we're going to pick New York City if we can find it on here. It goes by continent. So America, we're looking for New York City. Usually I pick Denver because I'm in Colorado Springs. That's where I live. And New York. There we go. So that'll put it East Coast time for me automatically. Date format, this is personal preference. How do you like seeing the date on your posts when you post them on the website? I like leaving it spelled out. Time format, do you like capital letters, lowercase letters, military time? I like leaving it this way. And then week starts on, I usually set this to Sunday because it looks like a regular calendar that way to me. It's personal preference again. So site language, leave it English United States and save. Our general settings are now in place. And let's continue on to writing. This is, I don't even use this personally, but if you want to, it's fine. Basically, it's an update service, so you can blog from like a tablet or your phone using an app, or send an email in and it will post it for you. So you can pick the default. You have to have your categories set up already. Right now it's uncategorized. If you add, like, again, with the food blog ideas, breakfast, lunch, dinner, those will pop up in here. And it'll let you pick a default one. So I would leave this as uncategorized so you can log in later and sort. Default post format, standard is fine. It's just going to look like a regular blog post. And then post via email, you have to set up your mail server settings. This is a little more advanced, so your mail server would usually be like mail webpresenceboss.com, whatever your domain is, the login name, so hello@webpresenceboss.com, and then whatever password you set for your email. So I don't use this at all, but some people do like it. Reading. Back on the sidebar under settings, reading. So the front page, since we're using the Divi theme, we're going to set it to a static page, and we haven't created our pages yet. We need to click home when we create that page. So I'm going to turn the sample page into our home page. And I have not created a blog page yet, so I'm going to leave that empty. We'll come back and add this in later. And then on the blog page, post page, it'll show generically 10 posts. But I'm going to show you how to make your own custom blog page, so this doesn't even matter. But if you just create a page, call it blog, and then assign it here, it'll show the first 10 blog posts one after another. And then it'll have a button at the bottom for previous posts. So full text, it'll show the entire blog post. Summary, it'll show an excerpt, like the first 2 paragraphs and the picture, the featured image. And then search engine visibility, I don't recommend checking this box. You want to be found in search engines. Okay, and then we can hit save, and that's our settings. If I'm going too fast, I feel like I'm talking really fast. If I'm talking too fast and you can't take notes, tell me. Okay, let's go ahead and do discussion. So I don't really change anything in here because I don't use it all that much. It's just for your comments on the website. Honestly, my blog doesn't get very many comments. People are direct. The purpose of my website isn't for blog interaction. It's more for read the blog and sign up for my newsletter so you can interact with me that way. So I don't really do comments all that much. I allow them to be left, but it's not very often people leave them. I'm not optimized for them to leave comments, basically. So default article settings, attempt to notify any blogs linked to from the article. So basically, this is a setting that if you link to my blog from yours, WordPress is gonna notify me, hey, you have a backlink. That's like an SEO setting. So if you don't want to notify blogs that you're linking to them, you can uncheck that. Most people don't even check where they're getting linked to. I check because I want to know who's talking about me. What are they saying? I go read it. Make sure I'm not pissing people off. Okay, allow link notifications from other blogs, pingbacks and trackbacks on new articles. I leave that on. Again, I want to know about notifications. I like being notified of things. Allow people to post comments on new articles. This is where you turn off comments on your articles if you don't want people leaving comments. And then you can override that on individual posts. So if you have 90% of your posts you do not want people leaving comments, you can uncheck that. And then on those posts that you do want comments, there's a setting. You can say, yes, I want comments. Other comment settings, the comment author must fill out their name and email. I leave that checked because I want to be able to connect with them. To prevent spam comments, you can check this. Users must be registered and logged in to comment. That'll limit who can comment, and it'll help you build your email list. So let's check that. Automatically close comments on articles older than 14 days. I don't do that. I just leave them all open. Okay, enable threaded nested comments 5 levels deep. So that allows you to, someone leaves a comment, you reply to that comment, it indents once, and then if someone replies to your comment on that comment, it'll indent 2 times to show that you're being replied to. I leave it 5 levels deep. It usually doesn't go that far. In fact, one of my tutorials, I show you how to eliminate using the WordPress comment system and just use Facebook as comments. Okay, break comments into pages. No, I just leave them all on the page. So it emails an alert whenever someone leaves a comment or a comment needs to be held for moderation. It'll send me an email saying, do you approve this? Okay, before a comment appears, comment must be manually approved. I'm going to check that. I want to approve every comment that comes through my website. I don't get a lot of comments, so it's fine. Comment author must have a previous approved comment. So if I've approved one of their comments before, they can come back and comment as many times as they want without me approving them again. It'll just show up. Okay. Comment moderation. Hold a comment in the queue if it contains 2 or more links. I don't like links in any of my comments because usually it's spam. So if they put any type of link in a comment, it's going to be held for moderation, which I'm holding all comments for moderation unless they've posted before anyway. Okay, when a comment contains any of these words in the content, name, URL, email, or IP, it will be held in moderation. So put curse words in there so that it moderates anything with derogatory terms, foul language, etc. And then you can blacklist specific terms, so it'll completely not even show it. It won't even bother you if it contains specific things. It'll just be trashed. Okay, avatars. Yes, show avatars. Maximum rating G. This is all settings. It pulls avatars from a service called Gravatar, Gravatar, and that is owned by the company that owns WordPress.com. So if you're setting up a WordPress.org like we are today, you still want to have a WordPress.com account so that it integrates with this website we're setting up. It has some fun features like avatars and other things. So maximum rating, G. If they don't have a G rated, if it goes to PG or X rated for your avatar, it's not going to show. It'll only show them if it's G rated. So if you pick PG, then it'll show G rated and PG avatars instead of the mystery person avatar. So these. Okay, save changes. I keep getting notifications for emails. I forgot to turn that off. Let's turn it off. Okay, so we should be good. It's updating. Next thing, media. This is your settings for media. If you add on something like an image optimizer plugin for shrinking your image file sizes, you might end up with some extra settings here, or they could end up in tools or even under media. Plugins are funny like that. It's up to the developer where they want their settings to show up. Okay, so default article settings. This is all for your blog post. Oh, it didn't take me to media. Come on. There we go. So this is your image sizes for thumbnails. What is the generic image size for in your posts when you add something in to a blog post or a page as clicking the media button? That's standard in WordPress. This is the medium size it will display at. Max width 300, max height 300. You can adjust that here. I leave it standard. It's fine the way it is in most cases. When I get into theme development or working with a custom theme, I'll come edit this. But for sake of using Divi, this is just fine. We're just going to use Divi out of the box today. No modifications. And yes, I like to organize my uploads by month and year, so I just leave it. If you edit any of these settings, there's a plugin that we'll need to add on to regenerate your image sizes and your thumbnails. It's called thumbnail regen, I think, or image regen. I'll show it to you when we get to plugins. Okay, so let's go up to, where are we at? Let me look on here. We did, I showed you where to create everything. Cool, so we did configure site settings, extra tools, manage users. Let's go there next. Okay. Tools, we did, I'll show you these. I explained where they are and what they do. So available tools. Oh, we didn't do permalinks. I'm sorry. I'm crazy. Can you hear me now? Okay, cool. So, continue on under settings, we have permalinks. And permalinks is what this URL structure looks like. So, these are, like if you go with plain, that's very ugly and hard for people to remember to get to a specific part of your website if they just want to type it in. Day and name, not a very good solution either, because they then have to remember what date you published that post on. Not pretty. Same with month and name. They have to remember what month and year you posted it. Not a good solution. Numeric is a terrible idea also because you have to remember post numbers instead of names. So post name is the best option. And that gives you the option to do / whatever the post title is. So demo.scomtechnologies.com / work with me or / contact. It's super easy to remember those. Okay. You can do a custom structure. So like this has a little code in there so it knows to pull the post name. So we could probably do something like category post name. So your blog structure would then look like your domain name.com/breakfast/banana pancakes. But for my personal preference, I just like to leave it post name because that's the most simplistic. Whatever I set the post name as is going to be the slash after my domain name. So go ahead and hit save. And that's all of your settings taken care of for the most part. There's a couple things we'll have to go back and edit. So after settings, let's jump up to tools. I'll show you a quick little thing here. We're not going to spend too much time here. Press this is basically a little button that allows you to put bookmarks. I don't know how to explain what it is. Drag the bookmarklet below to your bookmarks bar. Then when you're on a page you want to share, simply press it. So you press the press it button and it adds that page to your website. I don't really use this. It might come in handy for someone that's a fitness instructor and they want to click press this on a recipe they found because they want to share some healthy recipes even though they're not a nutritionist, but they're following certified dietitians and they want to share their content. That's kind of like one reason you might use it. You can also do a direct link. I don't use it. You can play around with it. It's super easy. We've got a question. Let's see. If we want people to be able to share our posts to Facebook, is there a widget or something like that? Yes. We'll get there when we get to plugins. I have something nifty for you to use. Okay. So import, like I said, this is where if you have Blogger or another service like that and you're importing your blog posts into WordPress, you can come over here and click install now on whichever one works for you. Tumblr, maybe you're coming from WordPress.com, or if you're a designer like me, you can import your own demo content into websites using this. But yeah, this is where you import content into the site. It's just your text and the images that you applied, the media that you applied. It'll also import settings and users as well. Okay, and then export, that's if you're leaving WordPress and going somewhere else, or you're grabbing your content and installing it into a new location. Typically, when you're moving your website, you use a service or a plugin for migration. But this is another alternate way to do it. That's import, export. Basically, you just create a new install, export all of your settings, and then import it in the new install and apply all your plugins, and you're good to go. Kind of a roundabout way of doing a migration, I guess. Okay, so export works the same as import. It's just these little install now button, or not install now buttons, but all content or specific content, and hit export. Okay, so users, this is going to be important for you to know. You want to do all users. Right now we only see my admin user. And then you can do add new here or add new up here, or this drop down, user, add new, to add an additional person into your website to use it. So this is what the add new looks like. Give them a username, something not very easy for a hacker to figure out. Email address, and then the rest is first name, last name, website are optional. I would fill it in just because I'm OCD like that. And then password, it generates this wonky, crazy password for you to give them. I suggest making a strong password that's easy for you to remember. Give it 2 capital letters, 2 numbers, and 2 special characters, and the rest lowercase letters. You should be good to go. It'll be a strong password. But for new users, I let it generate this, and then it emails them a notification saying, hey, you have a new account, go set your password. And then again, subscriber, contributor, author, editor, administrator. We went over those a second ago, so I'm not going to do that again. Go ahead and click Add New, and you have your new user in there. Now, say you need to edit a user's profile information. If you that notification pops up if you forget to hit save. Edit information about a user. So we'll go back to all users. The internet's getting a little slow this time of day. It's almost 6 o'clock already. So if we hover over the user, it gives us the option to edit. Now, visual editors disable visual editor when writing, so it forces them to use HTML. I don't check that for anybody because the visual editor is kind of necessary to use. Say you don't like this admin area to be black, you'd rather it be purple, you can pick ectoplasm. You can pick different colors and make it light. I just stick to default because I'm not picky. Keyboard shortcuts. So you can read about the keyboard shortcuts here. I don't use them because I'm spastic and I end up in places I shouldn't be. I just leave it off, but a lot of people do like keyboard shortcuts. If Dave is still watching, I know he is obsessed with keyboard shortcuts, so he will probably enable that and be a wizard with it. Toolbar. Show toolbar when viewing the site. So that means when you're on the home page, if you're logged in, will this admin bar on the top here display? I leave it on because I really like having it for myself there. But when I'm done editing the site, I turn it off so that it's not bothering my users. I have them use front end menu bars. So username, you can modify the username, but you cannot be the administrator, the 0 administrator, the founding administrator. That one's always going to stay the same. You can't change that here. You can put other information in. You can create a bio, change the password, generate a password. And then to get your avatar to show up, you have to have Gravatar set up. Oop, I missed a letter. Yeah, hit update. My user account is set up. So let's say someone forgets their password, you can manually reset it for them there, or tell them there's a reset link on the login page underneath the password option. Okay, so plugins. This is the fun part. I love plugins. We come standard with plugins. One of them we're going to remove because it's useless, and that is Hello Dolly. All it does is it generates some words. My stomach's growling. Okay, when activated, it will randomly see a lyric from Hello Dolly in the upper right of your admin screen. It's just useless. I delete it. And then Akismet. This is going to block spam on your website. And you'll need a WordPress.com account to get your API key. So we'll click Activate. And go to Settings. I need to eat something. dinner time for me. It's 6 o'clock here. And then we're going to go get your API key, which I already have one, but I'll show you how to get it. So get in the Kismet API key. And this is where you log in with your WordPress.com account or create an account. So I already have an account. I don't remember what my login is. Okay, let's find out with this one. We'll see. Nope, that one isn't it. Thought I had this set to auto login. I must have reset my stuff. There we go. Plugin sign up. Okay, so we have pick your plan, basic, name your price, or plus $5 per month per site. So here's your options. Name your price. You just get spam protection. If you do the $5 a month for your site, it supports commercial sites, so businesses, advanced stats, and priority support. If any of that's important to you, go ahead and get the plus. But for basic needs, what we're doing, name your price is fine. Now, you can give them $36 for the year, all the way up to $120 for the year. You can even do $0 for the year and do it for free. But typically you want to give them a little something. Give them at least $12 just to support the plugin usage. I already have an API key in here, so I don't need another one. I'm just going to go find it. How do I get my account? I never have to come in here. I have it in, I'll just pull it from my OneNote. I have it saved here. Kismet. I can't spell it. Kismet. There we go. License key. Don't steal my license keys. I'm going to edit this out later. Okay. Oh, there we go. When I clicked back to a Kismet, it found it right here anyway. Okay, so they are active. See, here's some of my clients in here that are active. We want to add a site here. That's fine. So we're going to go back to here, plug in the API key, use this key. Okay, so it's activated, and we are now, it's always putting everything in the spam folder for review, or you can just tell it to discard so you never see it. So it's fine. Back to plugins, we want to go to add new, Now that we have the primary plugin they give us set up, we're going to go get a couple necessities for us to use. So we're going to do Google reCAPTCHA, and this blocks spam signups from your website and spam comments. So it's another protection of spam comment spam. Okay. Simple Google reCAPTCHA is the one that I like. So we'll go install now. And this is really quick to set up also, just like a Kismet. Activate. Settings. Now we need some site keys. So register your domain. And it auto logged me into Google. So it's adding it in here. We've got all these sites in here. So we want demo dot. I already have one set up for me in here somewhere. We'll click that. And here's my domains. Paste it in there and grab my keys from right here. Oh, it closed me out of, it's okay. If you lose your website like I just did, just go back to it in a new tab. It opened it in the same window instead of a new one by accident. Does anyone else's internet get really slow around 5 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock at night? Must be heavy usage time here. Okay. So we want to go to plugins, installed plugins to get back to where we were, and settings on the Google reCAPTCHA. So here's where we plug in the site key, and then we need the secret key. And then we want it to be enabled on comments, and we want it on pretty much everything. So we're going to hit save. There we go. So now if someone signs up for the website, they have to fill out a little Google checkbox verifying that they are human. Okay, the next plugin. A lot of people like Jetpack. It gives you some statistics about your website, so let's go ahead and install that. It's right here on the featured page, right when you open plugins. And we'll activate that, and I'll show you some information in there. This is also a WordPress.com subscription type thing, and it has some add-ons that you might want to consider using. Okay, so let's connect it to WordPress. And since we logged in for Akismet, we're already logged in. It should just bring us right straight through. Tell it approve. Okay, now this is where you pick what package you want to be on. Okay, so it's Jumpstart your site, quickly enhance your site by activating the recommended features. That's fine, go ahead and activate them. You can always deactivate the ones you don't want. I have the free version of Jetpack, and I use different services for some of the stuff that they offer. But if you want it all in one place, their stuff is great. I just already had features that they added on later. Like I already purchased them elsewhere and have subscriptions good to go. And then they added on new features in Jetpack, so I'm all over the place. But if you want it all in one place, Jetpack is perfectly fine. So your site statistics will show you how many visitors each day and where they came from. So it's your analytics. Security to protect your website. You can block all the logins. That's your Kismet thing. Security scanning. That's determining if there's any threats to your website, like somebody trying to attack your website, it'll block them. I use a different service. They didn't have this in Jetpack a long time ago, so I purchased iThemes, and that's what I use. I'm going to show you how to use iThemes probably in another tutorial. But security is important, so I would pick something. Backups, they did not offer this a long time ago, so I use Backup Buddy. And there are other options that are free for backing up your website. And if you go with HostMeDear, you can just do your backups right in your hosting panel and not even worry about it as a plugin. Your website runs a lot faster when you don't have a lot of plugins. So that's up to you. Find a host that offers backup services or have something installed so you can upgrade and get the backups with this. Downtime monitoring, it will send you a notification if your website goes down. You will get notifications for this probably daily. I know my host, HostMeDear, I have them resetting my server once a day to refresh it. So my website goes down for about 4 seconds every day. Spam protection, that is a Kismet, and it's already active. We've set up the API key for that. And then plugin updates, it's making sure everything is up to date for you. So that's active already. And then performance, this will smush your image sizes. And it's doing it automatically for us. So that's the basics of Jetpack. All right, so to get access to your Jetpack, you now have a new item here on your side admin bar called Jetpack. We can go to the dashboard, which is what we're looking at. So we have apps. This is all the add-ons to Jetpack. So download the free apps. Pops open a new page. And there's mobile apps and desktop apps. This is something you might want to go check out later. I don't use them, but some people I know love them. I just don't have a need for them. That's your post from your phone type stuff or post from your desktop without logging into your site. It's the application for adding content, essentially, and some other things. So bulk and automatic updates. You can manage your plugins, focus on your writing, try out the new editor. We're going to be using the Divi builder, so we won't even use this. Connect with your visitors. This is your analytics. Monitor visitors and advanced stats, so like your Google Analytics type stuff. You're seeing where the traffic is being driven from into your website. So if you're pinning blog posts, you'll see that it came from Pinterest. If you're sharing them on Facebook, you'll see that it came from Facebook. And it'll show you times of day, some demographic information about the person that is on the other side of the computer screen coming to your site. And then connect with the community. It's just the reader that subscribes to a bunch of different blogs that you follow. Up to you if you want to use that. So there's the apps I was talking about for the phone and the desktop. That is apps. And then plans, this is for upgrading. How much is your website worth? That's talking about your backups. We're on the free plan here. So let's go compare the plans. Personal, that's the free one. No? Nope, these are the paid ones. Okay. So I'm the free plan. You get backups, automated restore, spam protection. You can easily migrate your site, and you get priority support. That's pretty good. Premium video press support. This is awesome. So basically all the stuff I'm teaching you today broken up into little short videos for you to go review. Okay, how do I add a person again to the site? Okay, how do I do this? How do I do that? These little videos. I do have those on my website also. Malware scanning and targeted social media stuff. That is, I'm not too familiar with that. And then the advanced one, $300 a year. They give you some one-click threat resolution. That's pretty cool. SEO tools and Google Analytics. I didn't upgrade to these because I feel like that's a lot of money for stuff that I already get for free. And I know how to do. So my SEO tools and all that stuff, I don't pay anything for them, so I don't use these things. The only thing I feel like it's worth upgrading, maybe the middle one, $100 a year, so that you have the video support if you don't want to use my services. It gives you the targeted social media stuff and the malware scanning, migrations. This one's worth it. That's a lot of stuff for $100. But back to our website. Oh, wrong one. Need to delete this one. You can pop in questions anytime. So we're going to get to sharing Facebook, share to Facebook and all that stuff. So let's go back to our WordPress dashboard. Plugins, add new. So if you need backups for your website, we'll get into that later. But I'm going to give you Updraft. This one, Updraft Plus WordPress Backup Plugin. They have a free level of this website backup tool so that you can at least save a copy of your website to your computer. And you can also upgrade so that you can schedule backups to back up to a third-party service like Google Drive, Dropbox, stuff like that. You always want to save a copy of your website away from the server where it's built, because if that server just dies, you don't have a copy of your website anymore. You have pointless backups. Or if your site becomes infected, you don't want to have your copy in the infected area because it could become infected as well. Okay, so we have Updraft Plus Backup and Restore. So that is now on our sidebar as well here. Just have to refresh the dashboard. And if you go to settings, Updraft Plus Backups is now there. And you also have your reCAPTCHA settings in here now. So like I said, as you add features, they find a home inside of your dashboard and your admin menus. Okay, so let's go over to Updraft Plus Backups so I can show you real quick how it works. Here's your Backup Now button. Just click that and then download the file when it's done. So backup now, backup now. And it says it ran. That is the log file that's just telling you, yes, it's been backed up. Here is the backup. Backup data, click to download. So it's downloading the database. We can download it to our computer. Download the plugins, download the themes, download your uploads area, so that's all your media files, and download others, that's your settings. It keeps them all separate for some reason. I'm not sure why this one does that, but it gives you everything. And I kind of like them separate because sometimes I just want to restore the plugins to a previous date because I just uploaded one and it broke the whole site, so I just roll it back. So that is how you do your backups, super fast. Okay, so next plugin or tool. WP Super Cache. This is for speeding up your website. You can install it and just tell it checkbox cache my website, and it'll start holding HTML versions of your pages so that they load super fast. Okay, so the next thing, if you want a free security suite, where is it hiding? Oh, there's your regenerate thumbnails that I was talking about before, and duplicate post. So let's go ahead and put regenerate thumbnails, duplicate post. If you need to sell things on your website, WooCommerce. I'm not putting that though. We'll do that in a different tutorial. Looking through to see what else is supposed to be on here. So here's iThemes Security. That's the other one that's free that I install. I have the upgraded version of this for my clients. And Yoast SEO is the other thing that we install so that you are listed in search engines and you can optimize your posts for social media. Okay, and then since we're working with elegant themes, I'm going to upload plugins. One is for creating email opt-ins. It is called Bloom. So my clients and members on my subscription plan have access to my tools. So Bloom is one of those things that I can put on if you are an Academy member on a subscription plan for me to be your service provider. I can give this to you. So Bloom is for building your awesome opt-in boxes for people to give you their email address so that you can send them a download and then put them on your newsletter. Perfect for building your sales funnels as well. We'll activate that. We didn't activate those other ones yet. I'll create a list of all of these plugins with links to the ones that are for purchase separate, like the Elegant Themes items. So Bloom would be purchase separate. And then I believe Jenna was asking about social media shares. So you can pin items, share to Facebook, Pinterest, all that. I use Elegant Themes Monarch. There's free versions of social share items as well, but they drive me crazy because there's so many ridiculous settings and it's not user friendly that I just purchase. I actually found Elegant Themes because I was looking for a social media plugin that was easy to use for clients, and I discovered they had all kinds of amazing stuff, so I just purchased the lifetime membership with them, and that's what I now teach. So lucky for you guys. So we have Bloom. Let's do a quick run through. We have Akismet, which comes with WordPress, Bloom, which is your email opt-ins, duplicate post so that you can quickly prototype pages and just modify them for what you need. I'll show you that. It's really nifty. It makes things so much faster. iTheme security for protecting your website from hackers and attacks and spammers. Okay, scroll down. Let me readjust here. Scrolled too far. Okay, Jetpack for your analytics, upgradable for backups and security, Monarch for social media shares, regenerate thumbnails, that's if you need to change your settings for your media, Updraft Plus backup and restore for backing up your website and saving it to your computer, upgradable for the extra features for migrating your site, scheduling automatic backups and all that stuff. Yoast SEO for your search engine optimization and social media optimization. The Elegant Themes updater, since we have premium plugins, we need the updater so that it will automatically update them for you. You don't have to keep downloading and manually installing the updates. So, upload plugin. Oh, it's not in my folder. Updater. We're gonna have to find it in my 5 million files. All right. Plugins. Where is it? Elegant Themes Updater. So I told you before that files, your plugin files, when you manually install them, have to be a zip file. And when you download your zip files from websites, it decompresses them and just makes it a folder. So when you have something like that, if you command click, I believe, or is it control click? Oh, okay, control click. No, we're in the folder. Okay, we need to go to the Finder and open it from there because when you click open, it's thing in my way. Come on. When you click open on them, it doesn't give you all the settings we need. So this Mac, we want the Elegant Themes Updater. So here is, I have it here a bunch of times. If you right click it from here and go to Compress Elegant Themes Updater, it will now give us the zip folder that we need. We can close this, cancel. And now in our Finder, we have the zip file. We just drag it in here and Elegant Themes Updater. It didn't do it. Hold on. I need to shrink my folder size. Okay, back to the little touchpad. The mouse is not cooperating. What is going on? Stop that. The mouse is moving. Okay, Updater. Install now. Stomach's still growling. I'm sorry if you guys can hear that. Okay. So now to activate the updates for that, it will ask for the API key. So if you are a member of Web Presence Boss Academy at webpresenceboss.com, I can go in and activate your updater since you are now my client. But if you purchase the membership on your own, you just go to Settings, and then it brings you to Settings General, and you plug in your username for elegantthemes.com, and then paste your API key in. But we don't need to worry about that. I don't need to worry about that for this site right now, and I'm not going to share my API key yet. I'm not allowed to share it publicly. All right, so that is, oh, we have some other Divi stuff that you can download. And there's a plugin called Divi 100 that I just saw in my folder here. We have Divi Booster. This is a third-party purchase. I forget who makes it, but it is a super awesome plugin. Very helpful for designing your website. So I will show you how to use this and where to get it as well in the email that goes out tomorrow. Email that goes out tomorrow, I'll show you where to get that. I think it was like $19 or something stupid like that, and it's so worth it because it saves you so much time. And then I have another plugin called Divi 100. Elegant Themes did a Divi 100 days of Divi, and the Divi 100 plugin gives you some extra features that they started giving. Oh, it failed. That's okay. We're not worried about the Divi booster. Okay, we're not too worried about Divi 100. That's going to be more like a... I'll go over Divi 100 and Divi Booster in the next workshop because we don't really need them today anyway. I'll figure out where they are and why they're not loading. But I will include where to get them in today's email. Okay, so let's get started on the next part since we're done with plugins. Site appearance, which means we need to install our theme. This is where we add new. So you'll see sometimes when you install plugins, you get these notifications here in the admin area. It's just telling you that there's new features because it's a new version. Or you need to set up your settings, or you need to insert your API key. But you can just hit the X and make them go away most of the time. So let's upload a theme. We're going to go to Browse, and we're going to install Divi. And we have a comment, okay. Who's chatting? Jenna. No problem, Jenna. Hurry up and wait. So while that's loading, there are some things that you'll want to know about when we get into designing the pages. A lot of times when you're new in business, just starting out, and you don't quite have a website ready, you usually don't have images ready for your website. And that's super important that you find some that work well for you. I have subscriptions to stock photography sites. One that I really like, a friend of mine, Jas Dole and Lydia Watson created. It's called Pixels and Lattes. It's super cute. They build out these little displays and take pictures to make header images for you to use in your social media branding and websites. And they're so cute. I just love them. So if you go to pixelsandlattes.com, you can check them out. And if you sign up for their newsletter, I think once a month they give you some free images to use. And I'm a huge fan of the marble backgrounds that they use. The marble backgrounds with the iPad on the screen or the iPhone or the keyboard. It's so cute. And this is for primarily female entrepreneurs to use. They do very feminine styles. Like this, the marble background is so pretty. That's like my thing. I love using marble. This is super cute. I love their stuff. And it's only like $20 or $25 a month. Totally worth it. The other one that I really like that is a paid version as well is Hot Chocolate. HAUTE chocolate.ca. And this one is also just like Pixels and Lattes. They use really pretty styled desktops. And they're very business-like, very feminine setups. And they're very good for creatives as well because they do some shoots for artists that do painting or colored pencil artwork or stuff like that. And if you sign up for their email list, they give you a freebie every month also. Super cute stuff. And this is like a really good example of what's in their stock library. It's so pretty. If you're looking for free, I really like Pexels, PEXELS.com. They don't really have too many styled stock branded type stuff, but you can put together a collection of images for different types of businesses. So say you do a lot of food blogging and you're on the natural type, whole food, healthy spectrum of things, you might be able to type in fruit and get some really nice fruit shots like this to use as headers to accent your site and give you a really nice pop of color that's natural, very welcoming. And you do find some styled photography in here, like this strawberry patches. Tons of options. Oh, that's cute. There's just so many options in here, and they're always adding new stuff in here. Beautiful place to go for developing your style. We'll get into branding and all that stuff here in a few minutes. It's already 6:30. We've been at this for 2 hours. All right, so we have theme uploaded. We're going to activate it. And I'm going to jump over to creating the pages for the website really quick. Just because we're going to load in some pre-configured settings and then go through and style them. So Divi is now activated. We can go to Customize. And this is where you set in all your brand type stuff, like the colors, the fonts you choose. But I just want to show you what fonts are available standard, so you don't have to learn how to code in new fonts or add any new plugins to add fonts. So if you go to header and navigation, and then primary menu bar, you can see what fonts are available right here. These are all Google fonts. So this is also what our website now looks like. We might want to pick a couple different fonts to work with. So Arvo, that's what that looks like. It's changing the font right here on the menu. Cardo is pretty. I like Cardo. I'm going to stick to that for my menu fonts and probably my header fonts. So this, where it's a sample page, I'll probably set to Cardo. Now, if you're using a service like Canva, you want to make sure this font is available there if you're using the free version, because you won't be able to upload fonts. So let's go ahead and click a post and just kind of make something to see what fonts are available here and match up what we have so that everything is uniform and we're not like a clustered mess of fonts all over our brand, because that is not a brand. Click text. I'm just going to click heading. And it was called Cardo, C-A-R-D-O, I believe. Yeah, C-A-R-D-O. So we'll click here, make sure we can click in here and get, and we do not have Cardo available in Canva, so we can't use that one. Droid serif might be a good option. It's a nice looking serif font. We come over to Divi and make sure we have it available. Droid serif. And that looks nice as well. It's just a little more boxy, but I like it. So we haven't picked our colors yet. So I'm just going to leave the blue. It's the standard. Now I'm going to go in and make sure all of the other fonts are also set up. It's going to be in typography in here. I'll go through this appearance area a little more in depth as we go through it. It's a lot to learn. There's a lot of settings. Okay, so general settings. We want typography. And we want the header font to be Droid Serif. And it just updated sample page information, and then my little headers over here in the widgets. So body font, let's look through and see if we find one we like. Maybe Lato. I like Lato. It's kind of small, but we can fix the size of that. That's fine. Body text size. Maybe 18. And then header text size is 30. Let's try 36. I think that looks okay. Save. So Lato we picked. Let's make sure we have Lato in Canva. I don't use Canva all that often. That's why I have to check. I prefer to use Photoshop and custom fonts that I buy, but I know a lot of people requested the free stuff, so I'm showing you how I figure out the free stuff. So here's Lato. We can use both Droid Serif and Lato as our brand fonts. So in Canva, I'm just going to do Droid. Why am I not typing? Come on. Droid Serif. And then subheading, we'll tell it Lato. I'm trying to type Lato. There we go. So that's a nice font pairing that's very clean, that go well together and are very easy to read on a website. Now, a lot of women ask me how to make this more feminine because it looks too corporate and a little masculine. So I might add something like an accent font to use on one word in headlines as like an accent headline, or to use in their logo as their brand. So we might have an accent word or an accent letter to use as like a monogram type deal. So you can look through here for a nice script font. Allura is a common one. Typically, I don't like using these for branding because they're just so overused and they scream low end because they're free. And it's not that they're free, it's just that they're in all of the programs that people on a super minimal budget are using. Like Brusher. I don't ever use Brusher for anything because it screams low budget. It's just a stigma that's been added to these, that people judge a book by its cover in our industries as entrepreneurs. So if you're working business to business, they're going to smell the budget a mile away. And they might recluse away from that because they want to work with people promoting that they do high end. So if you're promoting that you do high end services for high end clients, you need to look high end, not look like you're on a shoestring budget. So spending the $15 on a font will give you that extra edge. And then spending $10 a month on Canva will give you that boost if you know what you're doing with Canva. So picking fonts is kind of difficult. I don't like any of these because they just don't look, I don't want to say they don't look professional because they look professional. They're clean. They're not glitchy in any way. They're not blurry in any way. This one doesn't look, it looks childish in a way. Amateurish, maybe. to make something feminine, you might go with code to make it more dainty. I think that one looks pretty nice. But if you're stuck on having a script font, it's kind of hard to do with the free tools. If upgrading them will help a lot. Like this looks kiddish. I mean, it could work for some types of businesses, but for a food blog, I probably would not use that. This one's cute. I really like this font for specific types of brands though, like creative types. That would be okay because it looks like a handwritten font. But using accent script fonts are difficult. That reminds me of Brusher. There's so many better fonts than what's in Canva. And I'm glad they let you upload your fonts now with the upgraded service, and it's only $10 a month. It's so worth it. We'll just stick with Great Vibes as the accent, Droid Serif as the headlines, and Lato as the body. Typically, I don't like doing 3 fonts, but I'll accept doing a 3rd font if it's only an accent font used on like one word in a sentence as like a visual component, or used as an accent font in a logo, something like that. Okay, so we have that set up. Back to our section. So we want to set up the site appearance, which is kind of gets into branding a little bit when we get into Canva. So I think we need to jump to Canva. I think I'm going to stay in Canva for the moment. So we'll use this square item. I just clicked social media when I made this to make our little brand palette. So we have the accent font, which was Great Vibes. Great Vibes, Droid Serif and Later. Okay, so that's your primary fonts. Now you want to set up a color palette. So I use shapes. I'll use a little square. You can use circles, you can use whatever you want to set this up, but squares are fine. Let's set up a color palette. Let's go pick some colors for a healthy food blog. Let's say we want to use some bright, colorful images. This is really pretty. I like this. I'm gonna command click that to open it in a new tab. I think this is really cute. I love having the MacBook in pictures because I'm a business owner and I'm running a healthy lifestyle. So I'm going to stick to that. I want to incorporate that into my brand. Just kind of look at images to determine if it's a good fit for your brand. Is it sending the right message? And does it feel aligned with what you're talking about? Does it fit your brand voice? These are the things you need to think about. So I'm going to pick several pictures here. I think this one's a good one. I like it's very bright and also very clean. The white space gives me the feeling that it's clean. My phone is ringing. I apologize. I'm not even sure where I put it. Whatever, it can stay ringing. Okay, so I really like these pineapples. I think that's a cute setup. That would make a nice header for a section in the website. That's 4 images, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's pick one more. Let's see. Pop in questions as you have them. these two. I really like pineapples. I eat pineapples a lot. They're delicious. Oh, this one's nice too. It's very clean and refreshing. I think we have enough images. Okay, so we have images to work with. I need to move this little bar thing out of the way. We are at 25% battery, so we might be wrapping this up for today because it's a lot to go over. And I can jump back on tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I think 4 o'clock should work. And we can build the brand out a little further. But we want to download our images to use for the website. Let's close that. I got too many things open. So I'm going to save these. I click the little down arrow here, and I usually do the 1920 by 1080 or larger. So I need to do larger to make it fit. There we go, 1920. There we go, downloaded. Pineapples, 1920. The reason I don't do the original 6000 by 4000 is that file size is enormous and it's not optimized for web usage, so it's going to make your website load really slow. So 1920, 1920 pixels wide is the standard resolution for laptops and desktop computer screens. So it's the optimal size to use. I keep clicking this thing, it gets in my way. I don't know if I like this for the website because that background wall is grungy, dirty instead of clean, white, refreshing. So it doesn't really match my brand idea for this website. Okay, this one works. Download. And we're back to Canva. So now that we have our images downloaded, ready for usage, we want to go to our uploads area in Canva. You'll see some of my pictures there. I like doing photography, it's fun. So now I want to grab all of these pictures and upload them into Canva so we can use them as part of our brand. We're going to use Canva to create all of our images for our layout. No. Just hover over here and let it upload. Oh, I accidentally grabbed one of the zip files. It's okay. And there's our images for our brand. So here's our brand palette. We want to grab colors from these images so that it works well with our website. So Canva allows us to add a new page, and we can grab some of those images and put them in here. But what I'm going to do is go to layouts. Layouts, right? Or elements. Elements, and we want to do frames, nope, grids. And I want it to fill the picture in the square. So I'm going to pick that one. And all I did was click on it. I didn't drag it. So let's go back to background and grab. We want to duplicate this a few times. I think we had 5 images, or was it 6? Let's go back to our uploads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 7 pages we should have. One more, duplicate. Seven pages, okay. So we've got the clean, refreshing color. This is for selecting colors and mood for the website. This sort of matches the brand, but not completely. I feel like because this background is white, it's very close to matching the brand. So I think it's okay. We'll see how it looks when we get it in the website. Normally I would pick something with a very clean white background in most cases, if I'm going for clean, crisp, refreshing feels. Same with this picture. It's not bright enough, but it might be okay for the website. Because we're using a lot of stuff like this, it's not always white. There we go. So if you double click the image after you load it in there, you can now adjust it left and right to get the parts you want. But we want laptop with lots of fruit because this is for a food blog, so we want the foods in there. It didn't save. My internet is not cooperating. All right, that's fine. It'll figure it out. And then the last image. Okay, so I have an extension on my Firefox browser. You cannot add it on Safari or Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge, but it's this little color picker. So for Google Chrome and for Firefox, if you search for Firefox add-on or Google Chrome add-on and type in color picker, you should be able to add this on. And when I click on it, it allows me to select a color that I want to use for my website based on where I'm hovering in the image. So I want this nice orangey color maybe. I think that's a good color. So if I hit escape, it copies that color code right here to my clipboard. And now when I click this little part, I can give it a document color and I can paste that color code in. We have purple. How did we end up with purple? It's funny. Let's try that again. We want this nice yellowy orange color. I think that works. So 36454F. If I hit escape, it's supposed to copy it. There we go. Now we have the right color. So our little box up at the top will now have that yellow color. Now I want to duplicate this box and pick another color. So I'm going to hit copy, line it up, and let's go for a green color. Let's hit this. I like that one. Click here, add a new document color. Nope, it didn't give us the green color. Three, 6, 4, 5, 4F. Undo what I did. Control Z or Command Z on a Mac will undo what you just did. It's not collecting it for me. Okay. Color picker. Let's leave the color picker selected. Color picker. Three, 6, 4, 5, 4F. Three, 6, 454F. Did I do that wrong? 36454F. Why isn't it giving me the right color? That's weird. Wonder what in the world is going on there. Not cooperating. Okay. Let's go back to here. We can just pop them in here and pick a nice color here. So let's get a nice green color. I think that's nice. It's nice deep green. There we go. That's a nice color, huh? Let's say we want a nice blue color as our third color. Or maybe this pink color, an off color. Or this red color is nice. So what goes good with this yellowy color and this green color? I think a nice blue color would look good. Let's grab the color picker. That's a nice color right there. There we go. I think that looks nice. It's a light color. Okay, so we have our primary complementary, not complementary, the contrasting colors, I guess. Primary document image colors. So we need to font colors. Okay, we've got a couple options here. So we might want to do a nice dark blue color that we selected. And maybe black. We don't want it to be super bright all the time. Okay, so we have a color palette. Maybe our accent word will be in the green color. Our header colors should be that nice deep blue color. And then body can be black. What do you guys think? Any questions about color palettes? I see some questions up here. Yes, I'm recording this, Jenna. That color picker thing is a lifesaver. Okay, so we have Great Vibes, Druid Serif, Lato, and your colors. So you have your primary palette set up, ready for use. I think we're good. We have our core selected, styled photography images we wanted to use as inspiration, and we're going to use these actual images in our website. So we need to name this as template brand board. I'm going to save it and download it. I'm going to make it public also, so if you follow me on Canva, you can easily find this. I'm going to download it, and I'm saving it as a, that's fine, it's going to save it as a zip file, and then download. So the reason I make this brand board is to remind me what colors I used and what fonts I used, because it's so easy to forget. And I'm like, what is the name of that again? What was the code for that color again? You can easily figure it out in Canva by just grabbing it and going. So now we need header images, and this style website that we are creating, we're doing very simplistic. It's going to have a large, what I call hero image. So it's a full-size page image as the header of each page. So I use custom dimensions, and I go 1920 by 1080. That is full screen resolution for your typical monitor. Oh, I didn't hit a zero there. So here is your hero image. I mean, you don't have to make them 1080 tall, but for this tutorial, I'm going to just out of sheer simplicity. Some of you might decide to do it a little shorter. Maybe use those 80 pixels at the bottom for an opt-in bar above the fold. So above the fold means before you scroll down the page. So if you do 1920 by 1000, then you have those extra 80 pixels at the bottom of the screen for a section for something else to add in before you scroll. So I'm going to make a home page, an about page, services, contact, and then the blog page will not have a header because when you go to a blog page, you just want to see the blog posts. Okay, so home page header, I'm going to go to our uploads and find the image I like most. And I think this one is perfect for a food blog because it's showing, hey, we do healthy recipes. Check it out. I think this one looks great for that. And then my about page, I'll probably do something like this image. Or maybe this one. I think that's good for the about page. Pineapples are quirky, and I'm a quirky person. Services. So maybe if you're a fitness coach and also you teach business aspect for fitness coaches, this might be a good option. So you can put your services for clients, for fitness clients, like people looking to get healthy, and you can put your business services, like, hey, click this button if you're looking to run your own business, and it'll take you to a different section later, which we're not going to make a page like that, but keeping that in mind for later. So I don't have to edit things 1,000 times over. Forward thinking, right? Home, about, services, blog, and contact. So contact page, I'm going to use this when it's refreshing. And you can double click these if you don't like how it's chopped off at the top and adjust it however you like. It'll force fit it in. I think it looks better that way. I kind of like seeing the lines and the ice cube in there. I'm going to do it that way. Okay. Hit the checkbox. So maybe for your home page, you want to mute this down and have text over top of it. So Canva has some really cool features where you can click transparency. And since this is on a white background, it will dim very easily. Okay, maybe it's not working the way I planned. Let's do an element over top of it, a shape. It keeps defaulting to my brand colors. Good old Canva. Okay, so now we want to do white because we're going to mute down the image so that it's not so like that. So it's not so bright and in your face, and text will look nice over top of it. Now let's say oops, didn't mean to do that. So we want to make sure we're using the correct fonts. You can set your brand fonts in here when you set up Canva. So our primary header font, we were using Droid. I went too far. Droid Sans. Or Droid Serif. So there's the About Us page. And then this is the services page, but we want to probably double click this image and shift it one way or the other so that we can fit some text in here properly. We might mute this down like we did to the home page because it's very blinding and distracting from what the text will say. So I'm going to go ahead and mute it. Now I'm going to grab the cover, hit copy, but I'm dragging it down to a different section. Oops. There we go. So that's the same transparency as that. It's very similar. I hit T and it gives me a text box. It's not the right thing. I want the heading. And I'm going to put it dead center of the page, services. You can also call this work with me, work with us, products, and have a products page, however you want to set this. I'm going to call it work with me because this is designed to be for like a dietitian or a nutritionist or a health coach, somebody solo, a solopreneur type. Work with me seems to be a good fit. And then this is also very bright and the text will get lost in the image. So I'm going to duplicate this layer again and drag it down here. Oopsie, too far. Over. There we go. And this is the contact. Oh, I did that text button again. I'm so used to hitting the T. We'll call this Get in Touch. Make sure it's centered. There we go. Now these fonts are not set in the color from the palette. So we need to go back and grab the color palette. I'm gonna hit refresh on this page. Now I'm almost out of battery. We are at 10%. I'm pretty much done with Canva though. There's our great vibes. So I'm going to click this to get our color palette again. I'm going to use this little color picker doodad. And I want these to be green. So it's 3645F. 3645 4F. gonna take it. Don't crash. Little spinny wheel. Nope, it didn't take it. It was 3645 4F. It really does not like working for me. 3645 4F. I'm not sure what the heck is going on with Canva. 36454F. I'm not crazy. It's okay. So Canva's calling me. It's 4D 9306. 4D 9306. Okay. I got a font color now. So what do you think? Green for the, I think it gives it a nice pop on these. Nice. I feel like this one's kind of, I think this one should be white. I think white looks nice for that. So I'm going to call this page headers, done. And we'll download those to use for the website. And I'm going to save them as JPEG files because it'll save a smaller file size, which will load faster on the website. And then we're going to continue tomorrow because it's already 7. It is dinner time. I'm raging starving. And I need to eat something. But part 2 tomorrow will be all about using the Divi builder and the finishing pages for your website. And we already did monitor comments and updates. So it's just setting up your pages and your blog. And you're done. So we'll be pretty quick because I have some awesome add-ons for you to jumpstart getting in there because you're going to have pre-made layouts that you just edit. Okay. You're welcome, Jenna. Thanks for hopping on and being part of this. I will stitch together the 2 videos so that you have part 2 and part 1 all in one spot for the workshop inside the member area. All right. Have a good night, everyone. I will talk to y'all tomorrow when we do part 2.